And you can see that this is UL listed without any overcurrent protection in the AC primary. And I'll show you that. Alrighty, we have a pretty nice high-end Onkyo cassette deck here, and it does not have any overcurrent protection in it from the factory, so we're going to put a line fuse in it. As you can see, the power comes in and comes straight to the power transformer, and there's no overcurrent protection of any kind in here. So we're going to put a fuse block up here and put some protection into it for fire prevention. Take our wire out of here. We're going to use some Keister 4060 soldering wire. Clean our tip. We'll tin our iron. Pull our wire out like that. Zip tie off here. So we'll bring our brown wire down and we'll tack solder this wire to our fuse block. This is the fuse block we're going to use here, and we'll tack solder that on right there. I want to get it tilted over like that. Let's see if this is going to take solder. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We're not going to get upset. It looks like it's going to take some solder, but we'll use some flux. This is some rosin core flux. Take it and we'll get some flux up here. Put some flux on our terminal here. I'll tip this up so you guys can see it. I want to cover that whole thing with solder. I'll put it down this way, and I'll position the camera better so you can see it. So I'll put some more rosin on here, more flux. Clean my iron. Put some solder on my iron here. There, I got the whole thing covered in the solder there. See how I got my whole terminal covered there? Now flip it around this way. I'll bring it around this way. Yeah, I'm going to have to do it this way. Now I'll bring the camera over to from the other side. Some flux on here. Tin my iron. Clean my iron. Some solder on there. Okay, we'll strip a little insulation off our wire here. Twist our strands together. Dip it in the flux. Head on here, and we'll put some solder on there. Hold it like that. I'll put some more on there. Get a little more flux in here. Put some more solder on our iron. There we go, we have a nice clean solder joint there. That's just what we want. our vise here. Bring our wire back down around this way. So we'll mount it here, and we'll bring our wire up to about here. Clip it. We'll strip it just a little bit here. We'll give it a little extra here. Twist our strands together. I'll pin it. Put our wire through the hole there like this. We can get a little flux here on our solder wire like this. Get the iron, the tip, and the pad. There we go. Goes all the way around the way we want it. We'll let that cool a little bit there. Close our flux up here so it doesn't dry out. We'll just clip a little bit off the top. So we're going to drill our hole to mount our fuse block down here. Let's lift this up a little bit here. Here. I'll tin our iron and turn it off. Lots of solder on there to protect it. Turn it off. Use our vacuum cleaner to suck up all our debris. Just remove I'm just going to look at the bottom here, make sure everything's all nice. And we'll set this down in here like this. Screw through our fuse block here. Set it down here like this. We'll get a washer and a nut, a couple nuts. Nuts and washers on here. Make sure it's nice and straight. Nice and snug. So we'll get our zip ties back in here. Don't worry, it doesn't look like it's quite in the solder all the way, so we're going to take this off and we'll reheat it. Well, you know what, it is actually in the solder. When I look at it at this angle, everything is in the solder the way I want it. So it can be tricky looking at it at a different angle. and straight here. Turn the iron back off. The pliers. Make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure our wire guss is good. I'm going to make sure no strands are sticking out anywhere. Okay, so now we have overcurrent protection to put in here. We're going to put our fuse in. Well, I love how that fits. I just love it. Just learn to love it when things don't fit. Just learn to love it. There it is. Okay, so if one of these components here go bad, like the power capacitor, one of the rectifier diodes down here, or these voltage regulators, it could, and this capacitor here, it can cause it to draw more than what the cord is rated for. The cord is 18 gauge and it's only rated for like 7 amps. And if it's on a 20 amp circuit breaker in your house or a 15 amp fuse or circuit breaker, it can, while this transformer is shorting out and burning up inside, it can cause it to draw the full 15 or 20 amps to blow that house fuse, and this cord is not rated for that much current, and it can melt and short out and start a fire. So I'm going to just take this, pop this back out because I love how that spread it a little bit. So I'm going to just pinch that closed the way we want it. You just learn to love things that don't go right. There it is. Now it's set in the way it should be. Okay, we're just going to make sure no screws are going to hit our wires. And we're going to take a air compressor. We're just going to blow everything out, make sure there's no burrs or anything. And I'll show you my solder joints all up close. And then I'll show you the fuses. Okay, so I soldered this terminal right here. I soldered that terminal right there. And I soldered that terminal right there. There's a little solder ball right here. We'll flick that off of there. So if you look at the two fuses, the one on the far left and the one on the far right, you can see how large the filament is inside that would have to melt and break. And you can see how small the filament is in the one we put in our stereo component. See how small it is? That will melt and break before the cord can heat up and short out and start a fire, or the power transformer get hot enough to short out and create a shock hazard because of the windings touching the metal inside after melting all the plastic inside. I noticed that the European models require this line fuse on most of their units. I've seen many European models that have the fuse and the American models that don't have them, so I like to put them in. Okay, so we're going to finish things off by making sure no little burrs are in here that can short something out. So we'll just tap it upside down, make sure nothing is in here, and then we can take our air compressor compressor. Open our cassette doors here. Okay, so now I'll just look things over, make sure no components are bent over where they could touch something and create a short. Let everything else line up nice and straight. Okay, I'll just bring this over a little close to the moving switch there. These caps are just bent over a little bit. Make sure these are all nice and straight in here. Now look up on this board. This one can come up a little bit. Everything looks all nice and straight. I'll stand this one up a little better. Okay, make sure our screws aren't going to hit any wires. I'll just stick our top back on here. I'll get our screws and put them back in. All our screws are the same size. All the same size. And let's put them back in. And one little thing I like to do after I'm done is I like to take and put some nail polish over the screw head, and it'll help keep it from loosening up. I'll just let that set there. I'll go around it too. Just I'll keep it all covered up there. And we'll just let that sit and dry. So that is how to put a line fuse in a stereo component for overcurrent protection. Peace. Thanks for watching.